What it do, y'all? It's your girl Makeup and Travel, and for today's video I am bringing you guys more of an emergency-ish video for me. If you are a fan of Kiki Chanel, this is like her emergency review video. Not as dramatic, not as clickbaity. I'm not here for that type of drama nor that type of attention, but I still think that it's important for me to get my opinion out on this palette for you guys. Towards the end, I decided that I'm gonna do 2 days, so you're gonna get my opinion of me using this palette on my eyes today, and then you're gonna get my opinion of me using this palette tomorrow as well. So yeah, I hope you guys are in for an interesting little treat. And yeah. Hey guys, so as you can see, I have already done one eye on this look. I've done my base except for my lips, and I will attempt to remember everything and link it. Why do I always say link like I'm finna link it? I'm going to try and list it down below for you guys. This is sort of an emergency review. I'm using an old palette, and this was a palette that was super hyped on Instagram and YouTube. A lot of people were pro this palette. I personally did not hear any bad reviews on this palette, and I feel as though I need to tell you guys that this is, now let me say, this is the first time that I've used this palette. So yeah, I'm using colors that I use all the time. I use purples, pinks, and yellows, and then more of an orangey yellow type situation. And it is, it's patchy, y'all. I'm not a huge like, oh, it's a patchy person, but when the shadow can't stick to my lid, and it just, I have to put eyeshadow down to get the lid shadow to put, it's been a lot. I kind of want to zoom in to show you guys what it looks like when I put it on my eyes, and then I will after I zoom in, I will reveal the palette that I'm talking about. And yeah, I'm not doing this, I promise you guys, I'm not doing this to get views. I'm not doing this to get likes. I'm not that person. But for those who are having difficulty with this palette like I am, and they are avid wearers of color, I want to make it known that you're not the only one who's having difficulty with this palette. So I'm gonna zoom in. My camera is not the best, so I'm gonna zoom in as close as I can with it not being too blurry, and then I will start the look again. Okay, so that's pretty much as close as my palette can, or my camera can get before it starts getting blurry. If you look at any of my old videos, you'll see when it gets blurry. So what I'm gonna do is just go into the crease colors. I first took this Wet n Wild brush and I went into the pretty much true yellow, and I'm just gonna open up my small mirror, and I put that all in my transition and in my crease. Now this color is beautiful. I was very happy when I got this color on my lid. As you can see, it's very pigmented. I do like to build it up because I like it to be like stupid opaque, but it's still really pigmented, and if you're using it as a real transition color, it will go a long way. But as you guys can see, I love to take my colors all the way up to my brow. So yeah, so that is that color. Now what I'm going to do is take a slightly smaller brush. This is a Coastal Scents blending brush. It's really ratty. Anyways, I'm going to take the more orangey yellow shade and just build that crease area. I'm going to keep this closer to my lid and my brow, but we're just going to build up the color. It's not too much deeper. It's like J Kiss's mac and cheese type color. That's the situation that we're putting on. and we're just gonna build it up. So as you can see, these two shadows go on beautifully. I think they've built up well. I don't have any complaints on these two shadows. Next, I went into a couple of the more pinky tones. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take a random brush. This is a MAC 217 synthetic version, and I'm just gonna go into a really pale pink color and just once again build up my crease. And like I said, I was not planning to do this review. I just needed to sit down to get more use out of the palettes that have been just sitting in my collection waiting to be used. And I typically like to do a lot of those first impressions by myself. I'm not a huge first impressions person, but I will need to be when it comes to get more videos up for you guys. So there we go. We got the three colors. I like to go back and just make sure that blend is as good as I can make it. So I'm just going to go in with that mac and cheese color and just blend in between. And then just go in with what I have on this yellow shade, because this yellow shade was pretty potent. And just like that. I'm not too particular on things like that. I just want a nice blended out crease, and I think it's slowly blending out. Don't worry about the crease. We'll be messing with it. And then I'm going to go into another brush. This is a BH Cosmetics brush, and I'm going to go into a more pinky color and just kind of mix that in right with the orangey salmony color that's already in my crease right now. And like I always say, I'm not too precise. Honestly, what I'm going to do, because I really don't like that brush for what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go back in between those last two shades, the salmony one and the pink one. It picks up a lot of product. We're just going to dust off all that product. And we're just going to blend between those two shadows. And just really bring up this color a little bit higher. And this I'm just doing to make it equal to the other eye that I've already completed. And when I let my eyes sag, I really can tell how high I need to make it. Okay, so I think that is good. Let me just blend out this edge a little bit. I think I might have went a little too high on that. Go into the yellows with that Wet n Wild brush and just blend it down a little bit. Good enough. So what I'm gonna do now is go into the problematic shade, which is the purple. So first what I began to do is use a brush that I use all the time, this ColourPop E9, and I went into the purple and I went directly on the outside of my crease. Now, as you can see, it is going onto my eye. If you realize how much product I'm actually putting on, a lot of it is not going onto my eyeball, but we're gonna leave that alone. And we're just gonna continue to build this up to my satisfaction. Now, once I get like a general layer like this on, I like to go ahead and blend. So let's blend. And as you can see, now I've lost a huge patch of where there was purple to originate. So I didn't fret. I was like, maybe I'm going crazy, you know, I might be tweaking or going crazy. I did just get off work. So I went back in, I'm building up that purple again, and let's blend with the same brush that I always use. And once again, the purple is escaping from that outer lid. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, maybe it's your eyeball, because sometimes I do be thinking it'd be my eyes. But no, y'all, it's not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into a different brush. This is the Eddie Funkhauser brush. This is like an eyeshadow brush. I think it's really good at like pushing down matte shadows. It's a really good brush. So I'm gonna take this brush and that purple, and we're just gonna set that. We're gonna take this brush and set this purple on my eye. And I also have used this brush. If you use the side of this brush, it's really good at like blending. So I have used this brush to blend as well as pat. So what we're gonna do is take the side of the brush and attempt to blend. So as you can see, I took the side of the brush to attempt to blend, and a huge chunk of this purple is gone. It's creeped up into my crease somehow, and it's a hot mess. The only way, and I mean the only way that I have found to get this purple eyeshadow to actually go onto my lid is to use an eyeshadow base as a base for this shadow. So what I'm gonna do is take my Smashbox 24-hour primer, and I am going to take it all over my lid. Now, be warned, if you do this technique, because this is the first time I have ever had to do this technique with any purple shadow that I have in my collection, this does make it very known where you put that purple or where you put that eyeshadow base, and I will show you that in a second. So as you can see, now it's picking up beautifully. I'm using that same Eddie Funkhauser brush, nothing special. I have not wet the brush, I haven't done anything. Only thing different is that there is an eyeshadow primer now exposed onto my lid so that this eyeshadow can adhere right to it. So what we're gonna do is put this all in my crease, not in my crease, we're gonna put it all over my lid. And hot scratch it. I did different. I'm gonna have to change this. This is a hot toddy look, okay guys? So we're just gonna, I changed the shape. This shape was more angled, this shape is more, it's okay, we will figure it out. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna keep patting. Okay, so as you can see, it's nice and opaque pretty much everywhere. There's slight patches, but we're not gonna freak out about that. Now what I'm gonna do, because I see that this shadow is extremely temperamental, this is when I use my blending brush, the E36, which is super small. I use this for temperamental shadows or when I don't want to bring a shadow too high up in my crease. So what I'm gonna do is take this brush and just blend. And in this process, it takes some time. I mean, in doing just this eye, and even this eye is not as nice as even I would like it. I mean, it took minutes, okay? Like, it took some time. What I end up doing is actually picking up some purple on this blending brush to attempt to help it to blend, because it's just so set on that primer now that it does not want to move. And I genuinely don't understand, because there are so many people who reviewed this palette, who love this palette, and these are people that I trust. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know that we don't always have to have the same opinion, but like this, I mean, I have pretty young eyes. I'm not even 25 yet. So for this to be this patchy, not want to blend on my eyes, I don't understand. I wear purple looks all the time. All the time. Purple was the first eyeshadow color that I purchased. I actually had a single purple eyeshadow, and that's all I had for years. So For me to not be able to blend this, I don't understand. Yes, this shadow is powdery. Yes, it is pigmented, but I've worked with pigmented shadows. I've worked with powdery shadows. So I genuinely don't understand how I'm having so much difficulty blending. As you can see, I've gone back and forth in this palette easily 3 to 5 times now since I've been ranting about not being able to understand this shadow, and it's still not blended. You still get patches. There's like a big patch that's missing here. There's 2 big defined points here. There's a big defined point here, and there's no, it's not nice and rounded. It's not nice and blended. I don't understand, guys. I really don't understand. And once again, I'm not doing this video to bash anybody who has reviewed this palette. I'm not doing this video to bash the people who created this palette. I'm literally doing this video to show anybody who has had difficulty with this palette and thinks, oh my God, I just took a chunk out of it, and thinks that it's them. I don't think it's you. I think that this palette has some problems. I cannot get this shadow to work, even with that technique of putting primer down and then set, like I still can't get this technique to work, and I genuinely don't understand what it is that I have done wrong. I don't understand. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hop off camera and I'm gonna attempt to get these 2 eyes as blended as I can, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attempt to come in even closer, not too much because I know my camera's gonna freak out, but I'm gonna attempt to come in closer. I might even take some selfies of, is that fallout? I have fallout. Wow, that's crazy. I might even take some selfies of what this looks like up close so you guys can really get a sense of it. Once again, like I said, my camera situation is not the best, so you're not gonna get like this high D that like these bigger gurus get, but you will get some, hopefully some idea of what is going on with my lid. Like I said, the color scheme is beautiful. I love the idea that I created with this look, but the blendability is looking like a problem to me. So let me stop ranting because God only knows how long I've been talking. I am going to hop off camera, attempt to blend these some more, and then I will come back, talk about this palette, give you guys the reveal of what it is, and yeah, give me a second. Hey guys, so I am back. It is, I kid you not, 25 to 30 minutes later. It took me a while to build up this eye, blend it out to what you can see now, and then I just went ahead, did my bottom lash line, my inner corner, and I just went ahead and put on a lip. For my lip color, I used the Give Me Glow liquid lipstick in Whiskey and Honey. I really love this lip color. For my inner corner, I used a color from the palette and a color from my Dream Glow kit. I went ahead and used Ethereal to really spruce up that shadow from the palette. Now, I really don't know how I'm going to title this video. I don't know even how I'm going to do my thumbnail. But the palette that I have been so mysterious about is the Ace Beauty Slice of Paradise palette. Now that you guys know the name of this palette, I know you guys can count out countless influencers, countless YouTubers and Instagram, which are YouTube influencers, that have reviewed this palette, that have talked highly about this palette, that have loved this palette. Like I said, when I was slightly heated before, when I was doing the actual tutorial, I am not here. Oh my God, this eye is so much. Okay, I cannot. Okay, I don't know if that helped, but that made me feel a little bit better. So, I know you guys can count countless influencers who have reviewed this palette, who've talked highly about this palette, and I am not bashing those YouTubers. I am not saying that their opinion is not valid. I am just saying, in my opinion, I would have been good not purchasing this palette. Honestly, with this purple alone, the name of the purple is Honeyberry. I can't bend the palette backwards, so I can't really show you guys, but this purple right here is what I had so much difficulty with. I used this yellow, this more orangey yellow. I used this more peachy-ish transition. I used this pink, and I used this purple, with this being the main color in my inner corner, and then that gleam highlighter on top. So I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of what, the 12 shades. So I used half of this palette, and although only one of the shades is trash, in my opinion, I think that this is something that could have easily been told to me by another influencer if they blend the way I blend. So typically what I do is I add a little bit of shadow and then I blend. If you pat and then you blend, if you're used to doing the I'm gonna put some primer on my lid to put my lid color, I think you might get a different reaction. You might be used to this technique. I am not used to that technique. So in putting this palette on, I was very perplexed. I honestly still don't understand why I had so much difficulty, and maybe that's why I made this video, just to try and figure out why did I have so much difficulty. Please, if you have this palette, if you're an influencer, if you're just a watcher of YouTube, Instagram, blogs, and you got this palette and you know how to use it, please do let me know. I think that the primer situation worked, but the length that it took me to put this on, I did not like it. Now don't get me wrong, I don't mind taking my time on some shadows. I love subculture, so it's like, if I love the color scheme, I will do it. But even with subculture, I did not, you have to use, can we not? I don't have to use a primer to get the shadows to stick on my on my lid. Like, the shadows will stick on my lid. The big problem with subculture, it was so pigmented that when people went into blend, it blended up to the high heavens. So for me, this is a different problem than subculture, because I literally could not get Honeyberry to stick to my eye. And when I put that primer on, then it would only stick in those areas, not stick in the others. It was a whole kit and caboodle. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this yet. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this. If I post this, I might be having a couple of other days where I do looks with this palette. I might even be coming back in a week on this same video to give you guys a full review on how I feel about this particular palette. But I'm perplexed because generally, you know, even though I take more than one usage of a palette before I review it, I know how I feel about a palette in one view. And already I don't like the inconsistencies in this palette compared to how much it was hyped up. Maybe if it wasn't hyped up, I wouldn't be wigging out as much, but I'm wigging out. Can't you guys feel it? I'm like sitting up in my chair. I'm wigging out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in with my camera just so that you guys can see what it looks like now. Like I said, I put easily 25 to 30 minutes on each eye. So please do take that into consideration when you say, oh sis, this is blended. Oh, this, that, and the third. I took some time, and even to be honest, I don't think these eyes are the same. I think this one is a lot more structured. This one is a lot more loosey-goosey. So it is what it is. You guys don't know how frustrated I've been sitting here trying to blend it. I feel like Kiki Chanel with that Tarte toasted palette and all the other palettes that she has roasted lately. But I'm not here to roast. I don't want those vibes. I don't want those vibes on my channel. So let me go ahead and zoom in for you guys. Okay, so I'm hoping that this camera is not gonna freak out, and I'm gonna look down and I'm gonna do my typical side views. Alright, so my camera just stopped recording because I didn't have room on my memory card. I just deleted some footage. I don't know if it caught the zooming in slow motion situation, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it again for you guys, and at the worst you guys get it twice. So yeah, I mean, ooh, no, Lord. Let's go all the way out. Thank you very much. So yeah, I don't know where to leave this video off. I have definitely cooled down from when I was doing this on video. Like I said, I am not blaming any YouTubers. I don't want those vibes on my channel. I am not saying that their review was not honest, because it was honest. I'm just saying, for the way that I apply eyeshadow, for the way that I use purple eyeshadows, this just was not for me. I will probably be doing a review on this one, and just to give you guys kind of a heads up, I believe I already hauled this as well. I did haul this, but just in case you did not see that haul, because my hauls tend to be an obscene length, I also did get the Paradise Fallen one, which is majority purples. So I'm honestly scared, extremely scared to even think about putting this on my eyes now, because of how much trouble the other purple in this palette gave me. What I'm going to do, I'm gonna get concise my thoughts. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. I work on Veterans Day as well. So what I'm gonna do is, after work, I'm gonna come back here for you guys, and I am literally gonna do the same look, same shadows again. I want to see if it's just me today, if it's me in the shadow, or what. I am going to even go and see if I can find some of the reviews that have been done on this particular palette, and see how people have used the palette, and see if I can get a technique, see if I can see something that they've done that I did not do. Because I'm not that person that likes to bash somebody's hard work, because I know two people minimum put in some really hard work on these palettes, because there's an owner of this brand and then a person that collabed to do the color scheme of these palettes. So I know this was minimum two people's extremely hard work, and I don't want to bash it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna come back tomorrow and give you guys another tutorial, and or you know what, no, that's gonna make this video too long. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bring you guys the look, and I'm just gonna talk through how I did the eye look that day, so that you guys can see if it is me, if it's the day, if it's just today, because today was a relatively good work day. But anyways, we'll see if it's just me today putting on makeup, or we'll see if it is me and the eyeshadow and we just do not get along. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Let's just get into it. Alrighty guys, so today it is now day 2, and I am here to bring you guys my opinions on this eyeshadow palette now that I have tested it for a second day. And today I actually tried it 2 different ways. But before I get into that, I just kind of want to give you guys some backgrounds that I kind of skipped yesterday. Both days I have used the Urban Decay Eden eyeshadow primer, and yesterday I set both of my eyeshadow Yesterday I set both of my eyes with the eyeshadow Taco from Sugar Pill, and today I set this eyeshadow with the eyeshadow Taco from Sugar Pill. This one I kept unset. For my base, in case you're interested, I used the Fenty Beauty foundation and the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation. I used the Physicians Formula foundation as concealer. I set that with the Sacha Buttercup. I set the rest of my face with the Fenty Invisiblot. My bronzer was my Project Pan bronzer. My blush was this Chantecaille Laughter blush. I really like what it's doing on my cheekbones. And then on my high points, I used this highlighter. This is a new highlighter for me, and this is the I Love Sahari Dose of Colors highlighter. I purchased this purely because I fell in love with the Desi and Katie highlighter, so I wanted to see if I would like this one. I honestly don't like this one as much. It's pretty, but it is pretty icy on me. And you know, I like icy highlighters sometimes, not so much other times. It works for this look because this is pretty much a cool tone look. But anyways, back to the real point of this, which is the eyeshadow. What I'm going to do is zoom in so you guys can get a real good look at what's going on while I talk about what I did. Okay, so for today, what I ended up doing, like I said, I did not set this eye. I set this eye. I did not set this eye. For this eye, I used my normal technique. I went from top to bottom. For this eye, I did set it, and I went with an unnormal technique for me. I went from bottom to top. So I put my lid color on first, then I blended that out. This one, I did my crease colors first, then I did my lid color. Now, on this side, let's focus on this side because this is basically the type of situation that I did yesterday. I had so much fallout. I had fallout all under here, and it low-key went all the way up to my lip, and I was like, oh sis, you got some situations going on that you did not realize. But no, it was purple eyeshadow. So I have, I believe, brushed all of it away. I mean, to be quite honest, this was some evil fallout. So I probably didn't get every last follicle, but you know, I got the majority of it. And on this side, I did not get any fallout whatsoever. Granted, that makes sense because when you don't set your eyeshadow primer, the eyeshadow tends to adhere better to your lid. And this one, like I did, set it so it does not. As you can see, there's a different saturation level on the lid colors, and honestly all of the colors other than the yellow. Both of these two have different saturations. This one is a lot less saturated, this one is a lot more saturated. That once again makes sense. When you don't set an eyeshadow primer, the eyeshadow tends to adhere better to your lid. Now I think that's all I had to say regarding that. I did also want to go ahead and show you guys really quickly what my palette looks like, and I'm just going to do two comparisons. I'm going to use the yellow that I used at my crease for this look, and I'm going to use the purple that is the main culprit in this whole situation. Just how much of a dip right there, hopefully you guys can see how much of a dip I have on that shadow, and then I'm just going to go into the yellow, which I've used in every shadow look, and you can see how much of a different dip comparison I have between those two shades alone. This purple eyeshadow is so powdery compared to all the other shadows that I have used in this palette. Once again, it's still the same 6 because I did the exact same look. It is so powdery. I've gotten such a significant dip that honestly, I think if I use that eyeshadow maybe 2 or 3 more times, it's a wrap. I already had pan. And to me, that screams subculture. That's not a bad thing for me because I do like powdery shadows and I do like subculture. I'm just letting you guys be aware of it. So that is already a little bit of inconsistency when it comes to this palette. I do know that it is harder to formulate purples, so that is something that you also do need to keep into consideration. So for me, testing out now the 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, what? 4, 5, 6, 7. I tested an extra shadow today. Oops. Well, anyways, using all 7 of these eyeshadows on my eyes, I liked 5 of them. The two that I did not like were the two purple shadows. I did not like, of course, the matte purple, and I did not like the shimmery purple. I will get more into that when I do a full-fledged review. I just wanted to let you guys know I'm not a huge fan of this shimmer formulation, so I'm really concerned about that other palette. And this purple, it was extremely powdery. Don't get me wrong, after testing it out with this non-set base, I think I can work with it. It's in my collection. I am going to use it. But had I gotten this type of review before I purchased it, I would not have purchased this palette. Put it to you this way, or put it to you that way. For me, I am not one who prefers to use my eyeshadows with an unset base. I know that's the new thing, especially now that the P. Louise base has come out. A lot of beauty gurus, a lot of influencers do not set their base. I prefer to set my base. I like to have control in my eyeshadow looks, and I feel like if I don't set my base, the eyeshadow is just going to stick to that one area, and I don't really have as much control as I personally like to have. So that is one thing that I do want to specify. If you do like to use your eyeshadows with a non-set base, this palette may work perfectly for you, because as you can see, it works beautifully on that non-set base. And thinking about it yesterday, as soon as I put down an eyeshadow primer, it worked beautifully on top of that. But the problem is when you have a set base, it does not like that. So these are things that you really need to take into consideration if you're still interested in purchasing this palette and you have not purchased it. For those who have purchased it and you are not as experienced as I am, which I would say I'm beginner to intermediate, right in that threshold, and or you did not think about this technique, this is something that I'm trying to put out there for you guys who already have this palette and you're trying to make it work for you. Now, if you've used this palette with a set base and it works for you, no smoke, son. No smoke. This is all for people that this palette has not worked for. I'm just trying to be another resource for you. I'm gonna stop jibber jabbering, and what I'm gonna do is do my little slow-mo situation so you guys can really see the difference between these two eyes. Okay, so I hope you guys got a really good look at the situation that was going on. I also did want to point out that I did use different brushes today. I used the exact same brush to put down my eyeshadow, the purple eyeshadow. To lay that down, I used the same Eddie Funkhauser brush, and I really do like this brush for setting down mattes, but I did use a different brush to blend it out. I actually used this Chikuhodo GSN10, and this is a natural haired brush, so I don't know if that made a difference. I will say that on this non-set base side, my purple did blend out better. I feel as though this is a lot better of a blend, so maybe it was honestly the brush that I was using. And if you're okay with this type of saturation, by all means go for it. But I did want to point that out. I'm not trying to be biased in any way. Let me zoom out. Just sitting here talking. I'm not trying to be biased in any way. I do completely understand that when it comes to these indie brands, I'm literally messing with their money if I give them a bad review. I don't even consider this a review. This is just kind of a warning, in my opinion, that if you are not okay with possibly less saturated color and or a non-set base, I would not touch this palette. This palette specifically. I am gonna go ahead and test out the Fallen Beauty one, which is the more purple toned one, and I will be doing a review. I plan to do at least one more indie palette roundup, or just palette roundup in general, before the end of this month. It's already the 12th, so I probably won't even get to it. I'll try to get to it before the end of this month, if not early December. But it will be coming up before the end of this year, and I will be giving you guys my complete and final review thoughts after testing out the other 5 or 6 shadows that I have not even broken into yet. Like I said in my talking about this yesterday, I am not trying to bash anybody who was giving this palette a good review. I'm not trying to bash the owner and or the person that helped to create this line of series of palettes. This is just my opinion. If you don't like my opinion, by all means, please, I don't understand why you stayed this late, but don't watch this video. I'm not doing this to get views. I'm not doing this for anything. I'm literally doing this to let somebody else know that may be struggling with this palette. You are not the only one. That's literally the only reason why I'm doing this. But I think that's all I have to say. I just kind of wanted to come on here to give you guys another option in case you did have this palette, or in case you still wanted to get this palette and you wanted another alternative way to use it. I hope this was informative for you guys. I hope this really did help. Do stay tuned for my full review on the 2 palettes that I have from Ace Beaut. And yeah, I think that is all I have for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and fix these eyes so they're equal and then do a couple more videos. So as always, y'all, it has been real. Peace.